this is GH Glade for Coaching ADD. And I decided I'd shake it up a little bit with a different background than my usual one for videos, because when I socially distance, I really like to get away. Well, I'm doing this taping in the really early morning hours because my dog alarm clock got up really early. And I was thinking about the whole notion of what ADD is. And for starters, it's really poorly named. And it's really the opposite of what people experience in the moment of their lives. And I also kind of looked at my own journey. It's really hard to call it a disorder when there are a lot of positives that go with it. It is not a damaged or defective nervous system. It's a nervous system that frankly has its own rules, and it was adapted for another time. Most people with an ADD nervous system have no problem engaging in tasks when they're urgent. It's that deadline-driven quality that so many people have that leads them to putting it off, and then at the last minute saying, OMG, it's due tomorrow. And that is so common. I dare say it's almost universal. People want to get their work done, but they can't get started till that urgency and challenge becomes a part of it. The other aspect is interest. People with ADD get in a zone when they're challenged or they're thrown into competitive environments. And it's the newness and the novelty that attracts attention. Novelty is unfortunately short-lived, and that's why people with an ADD nervous system are really great at the onset. They're great idea people, but everything kind of loses the blush on the apple and finishing gets really hard. Studies show that ADD symptoms aren't at all correlated with IQ, and I find this in my practice. These are some really bright and well-educated people. I have stopped counting how many people are educated to a master's degree or above. These are physicians, attorneys, various kinds of people in research, you name it. There's just too many to count. And most of these people had their degree before they were diagnosed. That's the irony of everything. I find that most people with ADD are really pretty darn bright. By the time people with ADD reach high school, they're able to tackle problems that stump everyone else. It's that ability to think in a synthesis modality and put pieces together in different ways. And that's why they jump to solutions oftentimes no one else sees. Most people with ADD have a nervous system that is not overly active. The difference is they are hyperactive internally. They have high thought productivity. Their mind is always going. Those with this condition, it's not a shortage of attention. Sometimes they pay too much attention to everything. They might have 4 or 5 things on their plate. And the hallmark is not the inability to pay attention, but the inability to regulate it. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to ask you to give this video a like and to pass it on if it's useful for you. There are a lot of misnomers about ADD, and this video is my hope that we can kind of dispel some of those myths and better educate people. To go on, everyone with ADD can get in the zone, and they do 4 or 5 times a day. When they're in that zone, they have no impairment, and executive function deficits may disappear. Now, I worked in an intensely busy emergency room of, a major regional trauma center, and I was surrounded with people with brains just like me. They rose to that challenge, that never-ending solution, and they were in the zone. Look at the complexity of a problem. Somebody rolls in on a gurney into an emergency room. Something's wrong with them. They may or may not be able to talk. You've got to put everything you see, everything you can assess against the backdrop of what you know, what you've seen, and come up with a solution. And trust me, that solution needs to be right. Otherwise, things go badly in so many ways. And then it's wash, rinse, repeat, and another person rolls into the emergency room. This was the wheelhouse for people for this kind of brain. And those executive function difficulties just disappear in that environment. People get in that zone by being interested or intrigued by something. It's what I think of as a stimulus-driven brain. When you have the right interest-based stimuli, boy, it puts you right into that zone. You know, friends and family see this oftentimes as being unreliable or sometimes even self-serving. You know, in school, teachers see a kid who's just crushing it in one class and kind of tanking in others, and they come up with the conclusion, oh, this is a lazy kid. They often say, well, you can do some things you like, and they're really describing the very essence of that ADD nervous system. It is really driven by things that you as an individual find interesting or likable. I'll give you another example. Bill fishing. I had the opportunity some years ago to go bill fishing down in Mexico. And when you analyze bill fishing, it is boring at the utmost. You spend hours on an ocean watching these lures burble away, looking for small hints of a beak coming out or a fin coming out. And it is my thing. I am just addicted to fishing, and I'm good at it. I had to say it, I am good at it. Actually, my friends call me the fish whisperer. But every boat I was on caught 3 times the number of fish every other boat because I was in my zone. I was seeing those fins come out of the water and that beak poking out, and it resulted in fish that we'd hook up. And it was in my interest because it was a rotation. You caught a fish, then it was the next person's turn. So I wanted to catch more fish. So anyway, this is a wrap on this week's offering to the YouTube channel. I hope you found this helpful. Again, you know, ADD is filled with so many myths about what it is, and so many people have so little understanding. It's my hope you can use this video to help educate people, help give them a more balanced view to what may be a view based on little in the way of knowledge or evidence. Until next week, which is Monday, this is G.H. Glade for Coaching ADD. Have a great day and take care.